Hi, Julie Jones from SSB Performance, Smarter, Stronger, Better Mindset Training, here with this week's Mindset Made Simple Tip of the Week, brought to you by Game Day Sportswear. This week we're talking about what's next. I'm working with one of my Division I basketball teams on this right now as they are preparing for what's to come, preparing for the new team that they will become. We are talking about what's next. They moved from a season that they weren't pleased with to a season that they were very, very, very pleased with. And now the next step comes. So the question is, what's next? Whether we had a great season or a season in which things didn't go exactly the way we wanted to, we're all planning for what's to come. We're always planning for the next play, for the next experience, for the next season, for the next sales meeting, whatever it is. But in order to really utilize our mental tools to help us get where we want to go, we've got to answer this question, what's next? And the way we do that is to use the tool we have with us all the time. And that is our ability to see or pre-experience what is to come. But in order to do that, we've got to answer some questions. We need to go through a few steps. And this is not pie in the sky thinking. This is not sit around and kumbaya, everything's going to be great, we all want to win the Super Bowl. Every team in the NFL says they want to win the Super Bowl. It's not about that goal, and everybody wants to win the conference. Everybody that didn't win the conference this year and everybody that did win the conference this year wants to do that next year. That is one thing we all share. Whether or not we're going to get there depends on a lot of things. It depends on a lot of things going our way. It depends on our talent. It depends on how we plan to really get there and what we're willing to give up to do it. So in playing this game of what's next with the teams that I'm working with, we're asking very specific questions. The first one, of course, is what do we want? What do we really want? What can we do together? What have we done that leads us to believe that there is more in the tank, there is more that we can do? What does that look like? And we need to get a very clear picture of what we really want. And when I say what we really want, we can want a lot of things. It's whether or not we're willing to do the things that need us to get there that makes the difference. But we're going to start just with that. What do we want? And we're going to think about what we've done, what we want to repeat, and how we can manufacture that, what we want to relive and what rescript, whatever that looks like, but we're going to get a very, very clear picture of that. What do we see as our vision for the next season? What can we do together? What do we see as our vision for our own performance? What can I do to help the team get better? Very obvious questions. Very obvious questions. The second thing is we need to describe our vision in detail. In great detail. We have to create specific visions of what that actually looks like. What do we look like doing it? What do we look like doing it before? What did we look like doing it before when we didn't reach exactly where we wanted to go? Where were we? What were we thinking? What went on? What can we change? What can we control to help us get there? What does my best performance look like? What do I see myself achieving? What should I be doing? What will I be saying? What will I be feeling? And really get a clear picture of that. Because if we really put ourselves there, we know whether we can do it or not in a way. We know whether we're kidding ourselves to say, do we really see ourselves hoisting the trophy? Or are we not really that committed? Because if we put ourselves there and put ourselves in that emotion or put ourselves in the emotion that it's going to take to get there, now we're pre-experiencing what could happen and we know whether that's comfortable or not. And the question is it comfortable enough to push through? Or is it not? So we can start to really set goals that are realistic. You know the SMART goals. The realistic is important. We know that for sure. But what do we see? What do our best performances look like? What are we saying, doing, acting? What are other people saying about us? What do other people see in us at those times? That's step number 2. Step number 3, we need to really dive into the emotion of it. I sort of said that in step number 2. But what if all my visions of what I want to happen came true? How am I going to feel? You remember me talking about WOOP, quite possibly. Dr. Oettingen put this together, WOOP, wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. That's basically what we're doing here. This is the outcome portion of WOOP. What's it going to feel like? How's it going to be? Tie ourselves to that. So we have, it's that why, really, of this, oh my gosh, it's going to be worth it. Yes, I'm willing to push through that. In my last vision, I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be difficult, but that's the outcome. What's it going to feel like? What's it going to look like? Next, then, we go to the other O, right? What are the roadblocks? We're taking a trip. What's our destination? We never go somewhere without, or rarely take a road trip, when there's not a destination, and that's what we're doing. We're loading up, we're taking a trip. And we're going to think about, right, what we need to wear when we get there. We're going to think about what we might do when we get there. We have some visions of what that might look like, and we picture all the good stuff, which is great. What do I feel like? What do I look like? That's step 2 and 3. What's it going to be like? But we also have to plan for the flat tire. What could get in our way? What could trip us up? What are the roadblocks along the way? What are they? Are they external? Are they internal? Who could get in our way? What can't we control that we need to adjust for? That's really important, because positive thinking doesn't get us anywhere in the end. It does, it helps, but it does. In the end, we've got to plan for things that go back. We can't pretend like everything's going to be perfect, because it's not going to be. 1% of the time, things go the way we think they're going to. So this is, again, that stage where we say, where are my problems? We're really good at it. We can find problems in everything. But when we're setting our goals, we often don't look there. And then we set ourselves up for failure because we're not thinking about what could trip us up. Could it be physical injury? Could it be a different culture or a different personality on the team? Could it be that, we are busy and our schedule is changed and we have some other distraction? What could it be? Next step, step 5, I believe we're on 5, is that we plan for that. We get out the jack and the extra tire and we change the tire. We plan. It's the intention, it's the implementation intention. The if then. And we may even have some when thens. What am I going to do? If this happens, what will I do? And we watch ourselves work through it. If I feel this way, how am I going to manage that? If this thing pops up, how am I going to climb over it, go around it, or avoid it altogether because I've planned ahead? If then, it's an implementation intention. We are intending to do something and we're going to implement this when it happens. We've been there before we get there. It's not going to trip us up. It may slow us down, but we're ready because we've already thought about it. That takes time. It takes thought. Some people think that it's negative thinking, but it's realistic thinking because something is going to happen. And then we think about what it is we need to do by doing what, as my mentor, Dr. Sue Ziegler, always said, by doing what? What are the actions that we are going to take day by day to move us toward this goal that we see? What are the actions that we are going to take to prepare us for the bumps in the road? What are the actions that we are going to take to actually do something to go 1 mile at a time? And how are we going to get there? I work with a CEO every Friday morning. We talk. And she has a list of things that she wants to do every day. And today I sent something back to her and said she wanted to do 15 minutes of something. I said, nope, cut it to 3. Cut it to 3 and add in your breathing while you're doing that so we can condense a couple of the things. We've got to make it simple enough that we're going to stick to it. What we talked about last week, checking something off on our calendar. What's our plan? Our plan to get around or to avoid or to climb over our obstacles is important, but our daily plans of keeping our vision in front of us and then moving toward it every single day. But if we don't feel what it's going to feel like, we can get lost on that calendar. If we don't feel what we're going to feel if we get tripped up, we're going to get off the horse and never get back on, right? What's our plan to get back on the horse? It's like, we overeat, or we have a piece of cake, we're like, oh, what the heck, we'll just eat the whole thing now that we just had a piece of cake. No. So what, you didn't do it one day? Or so what, that's good, that might trip us up. It's still worth it because we felt it when we're thinking about what our vision is and how it's going to feel. What's next? We can talk all about it all we want. We can make up these grand plans that we're going to win the conference. Everybody is making that plan. The difference will come down to who can stick to it, who can stick to feeling that feeling and knowing that it's going to be worth it, even when these little things pop up that we've already planned for, so we're not going to get tripped up. We might get slowed down. But we're still going to get there because if, then, or when, then, or today, I will. Because the little things turn into big things. So, what's next for you? What went well? All right? What can you do again? What do you want to do again? How can you grow it? Because next year, this team that I worked with, that I'm so proud of, they're not going to sneak up on anybody this year. So they've got to make some changes, and they know it. What are they going to do? They've got to have a very clear vision of what they want. They've got to get a very clear vision of what that's going to take. They've got to get a very clear vision on whether or not they're willing to give it. They've got to get a very clear vision of what could impede them, and they have to have a very clear vision of what they're going to do when those things pop up. And if they can do those things, they will move closer to where they want to be, whatever that is. And I'm just along for the ride, watching it and clapping from afar. So what's your next thing? Take a couple minutes and think about that. And then spend time, at least a couple times a week, feeling what the outcome's going to feel like. And then watching yourself win. Watching yourself win over the things that could get in your way. And every single time you do something that moves you one step closer to that goal, congratulate yourself. Because that's a small win in itself, and you know it. Until next week, what's next? Have a great week. Email me at juliej@SSB Performance. I'd love to work with your team, with your group, with your sales team. We can find lots of ways to help people grow. Have a great week.